Both teams trying to bounce back from conference losses, 1-1 in the league. Taking a look at the keys to the game. For the Citadel, you really got to keep the pressure on Furman and then you shoot the ball well from deep. Ash is just one of many players that can hit it from long range.
Yeah, the Citadel's going to give you a lot of different things offensively, side to side, a ton of shot fakes. They're going to challenge Furman off the bounce.
Paladins got to defend the drive, something they didn't do great up in Cullowhee. Try to put a full 40 minutes together as we're underway here in Greenville. The Paladins in the white as you see the starting lineups for the Bulldogs presented by Bon Secours.
And so much of it starts on this end for Furman. They want to get stops because it leads the offense for them. They can get out and run, just like right here.
Bothwell takes the miss. He'll bring it into the front court. There you see the Paladins, Bon Secours starting 5. Bothwell into the lane, left-handed finish up and in. There's Mike Bothwell doing it himself.
And I think that's such a key because I thought he got off to a slow start Saturday at Cullowhee against the Catamounts. Great to see him get an early basket right there.
Bothwell comes in leading the scores for the Paladins, nearly 20 points a game. Slauson, Heen, and Foster all averaging in double digits for this Furman team.
And that's what makes Furman so dynamic. They have so many guys that can score the basketball.
Turnover into the front court, the Paladins. Here's Slauson. Now Foster, still plenty of time on the shot clock. JD Paladins looking to go down low again. Back-to-back buckets in the paint.
Yeah, Furman shares the basketball so well. That's an outstanding drive. Finding them right there on the baseline.
Early 4-0 lead for the Paladins. Half court man-to-man. Durr, the freshman out of Atlanta, deflected out of bounds. This is a Citadel team. Ed Conroy comes in, kind of cleared house, brought in a bunch of new faces, a bunch of new players. So if you're used to tuning into Citadel games, JD, kind of seeing the old Digger Balcom run and gun, this is a new look Bulldog basketball team.
It is, but the skill set is still the same. You know, Ed Conroy is one of the best head coaches in the country at teaching shooting, and the Bulldogs shoot it as well as anybody in the SoCon.
One of the oldest rivalries in the Southern Conference in all of basketball. Nearly 220 meetings. Furman dominating the series as that three-pointer's off the mark, never hit a rim. And 2 straight turnovers, back-to-back possession. You tell you what, you don't think defense was an emphasis after Saturday. This bench up and at him after that.
Absolutely, and the big thing that I'm watching is closeouts right now by Furman because the Citadel is going to shot fake on every catch. I saw a possession the other day against Chattanooga, 12 shot fakes in 1 possession. Furman has stayed down on all of them right now.
Bothwell trying to get it down low to Slauson. Slauson, the graduate student, gets it over the rim. That's Jalen Slauson, a kid, JD, you know well in your time at the College of Charleston. You saw progress through high school. You think big potential for the graduate student for the Paladins.
Yeah, the Summerville, South Carolina native from Pinewood Prep has just continued to develop and get better. Outstanding family. Really proud of Jalen.
Slauson averaging near 15 a game for the Paladins, 7.1 rebounds, and Furman's come out with an early 6-0 advantage. Baseline drive by Durr, back out, open three-point on the way. Morgan, that's off the mark, tipped around out of bounds, and it'll be Furman basketball.
And so much right there, even with that shot. Jalen Slauson contested the shot, and it wasn't his man, which tells you right now that Furman came out connected defensively. They haven't given up an unchallenged look yet.
Pegues, the sophomore point guard, replaces Alex Hunter from a season ago, just a steady senior. Big shoes to fill, but done an admirable job so far, especially the last 3 or 4 games as Bothwell, count it, will go to the line, a chance to complete the three-point play on the feed from Pegues.
Yeah, so whenever I first started breaking down Furman film a couple weeks ago, you know, J.P. Pegues was one of the guys I really wanted to get to watch because I didn't know him as well as I knew these other guys because they've been around for so long. But Mike Bothwell is so steady. He's one of those guys, Coach Ritchie knows what he's going to get night in and night out from him. And now they need those other 3rd, 4th, and 5th guys to step up and be consistent.
Bothwell a chance to jump Furman out to a 9-0 advantage here in the first 2.5 minutes. And he does. This Paladin team has won 8 straight against the Bulldogs. Their last time out was the regular season finale in Charleston, a 94-59 victory in late February a season ago.
And as you touched on, this is a rivalry that's been played a ton, very important to both fan bases.
Clark gets the Bulldogs on the board. He's one of 2 double-digit scores, comes in averaging near 15.5 a game. Senior out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Stephen Clark does an outstanding job of creating offense. He's a great passer. They're going to use him as a point forward that can create for others and initiate offense, whether it's in the post or on the perimeter.
There, a nice find by Pegues. You take another look. Heen's going to go too as he's pushed in the back by Morgan. It seems like early on, JD, Furman a big emphasis trying to get it in the paint, specifically right down low on the block.
Yeah, you know, when you look at their stats, Furman's shooting 62% inside the three-point line on the season. And when I was really studying their statistics, three-point field goal percentage, Bob Ritchie's one of the best offensive coaches in the country. But they've done a great job when they got it to the rim. So I'm not surprised to see early on they want to get the ball inside the paint.
9-point advantage here. Just over 3 minutes gone from Timmons Arena. First game in the new year for both of these teams. Paladins students not back on campus yet, so your normal raucous Timmons Arena a little bit tame tonight, but a good crowd here on a rainy Wednesday in Greenville. That's out of bounds, and a whistle, though, and a foul is going against the Paladins. Looks like that's going to be Jalen Slauson, the fifth year's first.
And so the tough thing about that call right there, you know, not fouling is a huge emphasis in college basketball right now. Analytically, it's one of the worst things you can do. Jalen had his hands out, ran into his chest, but Stephen Clark was able to draw the foul.
Bart Lennox, Sidney Cohen, Michael Houston, your officials here this evening. Durr in the corner. He's working against Slauson, who just picked up that personal and rattles home. And the Bulldogs with back-to-back possessions with the bucket.
I love Madison Durr. I had a chance to see the Citadel earlier in the year against Clemson. He's a big, strong guy from Hargrave Military Academy. He is ahead of his time.
It's going to be an offensive foul. The second on Jalen Slauson. He'll have to come in and check out. And coming in for the first time tonight, Tyrese Huey, the sophomore out of Columbus, Ohio. It's going to be some early foul trouble for the Paladins.
Yeah, Furman got off to a great start offensively, and now they got to deal with some adversity. But Tyrese Huey has been really good for him, particularly on the offensive end. Played outstanding against VMI at home last week. He's well prepared for this moment.
Huey, a X-factor for the Paladins, can come in and make a big difference. He's had some standout games this season. Nice drive by Morgan. It's going to be a kickball, and it'll take us to the first media timeout. 15:53 to go here in the opening half. Furman off to a fast start, up 7 over the Citadel here from Green. Up 7, but a couple quick fouls by Jalen Slauson, something to watch out for in this first few minutes.
Yeah, it is, and as Furman continues to develop defensively, not fouling is a huge emphasis to Coach Ritchie. And so obviously didn't like the one on the baseline. Talked to the official about the charge on the other end, but he's got 2 fouls and gonna have to adjust.
Bulldogs with the basketball, trying to cut into that 7-point deficit. Here's Morgan into the lane. Out to Clark all the way down the right side. Can't finish. Ball tipped around as Garrett Heen drives the rebound. Austin Ash, JD, still without a shot attempt here in the first 4.5, 5 minutes. Furman doing a nice job avoiding the Southern Conference leader in three-pointers made a game as Furman turns it over for the first time.
Don't worry, Austin Ash will find one quickly.
Battle on the block. Spence trying to post up Heen. Will go far side to Clark. Now Durr into the lane, an offensive foul. There's the freshman for Furman taking the charge. Ben Vanderwall.
So my second favorite guy whenever I was studying him on film was Ben Vanderwall. So we had a skip pass right there on that possession. Furman took care of the skip. They made one more. Ben closes out, stays in the stance, moves his feet, and takes the charge against a point guard, Madison Durr. That is outstanding. That's really hard for a freshman to do.
Alex Williams, the sophomore out of Ohio, in for the Paladins. Had a big game against South Carolina State earlier this year. At what point, let's joke about later in your freshman season where you can't use the freshman excuse or call him a freshman anymore? You're in the conference play, still maybe a little early for that, and another chance that falls out. But the freshman excuse when you're coaching is probably wears off by about this point in the season.
I think so, and so much of it now in college basketball, it's an 11 or 12-month journey, you know, and so those guys are on campus by June, July, and so they've had a ton of time together. But with Ben Vanderwall, like so many of the things that he does are things that typically freshmen don't do. You know, you got to teach a guy to rotate. You got to teach a guy to take a charge. Something as simple as right there on that baseline drive, playing off of 2 feet, taking it up strong. you know, he gives an element to Furman's team that, you know, he can play and be effective without the ball in his hands as a scorer. And that's important right now.
Vanderwall makes both. 72% on the season from the line. Paladins pushed the lead back to 9. It's tied the largest here in the early going. Furman still yet to miss a field goal. Perfect 4-4 from the field. Morgan working against Bothwell. Trying to find some space. Tough shot front of the rim. And another stop for the Paladins.
Elijah Morgan, the Notre Dame transfer, being able to get it close to the rim. Great job by Mike Bothwell to use his length.
Williams down low, hesitates, and the lead into double digits for the first time. His points in the paint adding up for the Paladins. Now 10 of Furman's 15 coming down low.
Outstanding job attacking the rim by the Paladins early tonight.
Almost an illegal screen as Ash airballs it right into the arms of Spence down low. He's able to finish off the glass. Don't see that much. Ash throw one up and not catch anything, but probably a little lucky assist.
Yeah, probably a little more open than what he thought he was going to be, but Furman guarded it the correct way. They chased it out just like you want to do with a shooter. Got there to contest.
Huey shot fakes and then sends it over to Bothwell and knocks down the three-pointer. How about JD giving up the good shot for the great shot and finding Bothwell from long range?
And that's such a part of Furman's offense. They share the ball so well. They put so many guys on the floor that can score. Great unselfish play right there off of a shot fake drive.
Furman comes in almost 35% as a team from long range.
And that was probably the biggest stat that surprised me when I dove into my Furman study. Typically shoot it a little bit better than they have from three, but early paint points make those threes easier.
Tough shot off the mark. Furman with the basketball up 12. Williams from the corner. He'll hesitate, launch a tough three-pointer, gets the roll. Timeout, Ed Conroy, as the Paladins has pushed the lead to 21-6 here in the early going.
And that's exactly the start that Bob Ritchie and the staff was looking for. You know, obviously coming off of a disappointing loss at Western Carolina, coming out with great enthusiasm defensively, sharing the basketball. But don't discredit Western Carolina. You know, watching that game, Cullowhee is a hard place to play, particularly in early January, late December. I was really impressed with the guards that Western Carolina has. They've got some guys that are going to win some games in the Southern Conference. But this is important. You know, it's a great bounce back early right here. Now can Furman maintain that focus?
Furman already with 21 points through 7 minutes. No surprise where they look at nationally in the offensive statistics. Top 25 in points a game, and then the efficiency, the assist-to-turnover ratio, all those kind of adds up to offense is not hard to come by here for Coach Ritchie.
No, it's really not. You know, and you look at these stats and you try to say, hey, which one's your favorite? And it's hard to pick a favorite. But I'm going to go assist-to-turnover ratio. You know, if you can get shots at the rim and you can get good shots, scoring becomes much easier. When you give possessions away because you turn it over, basketball becomes really hard. Furman does a great job on the offensive end. Furman
averages near 82 points a game while giving up a little over 72. After the timeout, Joe Anderson in for the Paladins, another option at the guard position. Junior out of Maryville, Tennessee, seeing some action. And a whistle and a foul, a chance to go to the line to complete the three-point play is Stephen Clark, and that's what Ed Conroy wants to see coming out of a timeout. Absolutely, great baseline drive with a cut right there from Stephen Clark. You touched on Jeremy Anderson as he checked in. I love the pace that he plays with. Joe Anderson, excuse me. You know, when he comes in, I think the pace even gets a little faster for Furman, particularly on those missed shots. I love watching him play. He's a great spark off the bench right now for Coach Ritchie. Free throw missed, and here is Anderson quickly in the front court. Three-pointer far side, in and out. But again, that three-pointer created by how quickly you mentioned Anderson gets the ball in the front court. It's almost a fast break off a non-fast break situation. Absolutely, especially off of a free throw like that. That's a tough matchup situation. Pump fake down low. Gets his own board as Morgan. Now A.J. Smith, freshman out of Charlotte, working against Williams. Ball tipped around, loose underneath, and there's Garrett Heen gets the ball. Fourth turnover for the Citadel. And Furman continues to get their hands on the ball defensively and create deflections. Nice move by Marcus Foster. His first bucket. And the Paladin lead up to 15. Nice patience there by the redshirt junior.
You've seen Marcus Foster, as well as Mike Bothwell playing at the rim in a post-up situation. They've got an advantage size-wise down there.
Furman 4 assists on 8 made buckets. There's the pump fake foul by Alex Williams as he clobbered A.J. Smith. You talked about staying on your feet and not fall for the pump fake there. Nice job down low.
Yeah, I love what Furman's done early in the game so far defensively, but Coach Ritchie's going to tell these guys in the huddle right there, stay on your feet, make them score over the top of you. But it's a great start, Furman, offensively. See if they can keep it up.
Phil, and now, tell you what, he knows how to win in Charleston, something that you're familiar with. It's not an easy job.
No, it's not, but there's nobody better at leading Citadel basketball than Ed Conroy. You know, obviously he did it as a core squad athlete, still holds 3 records in the top 10. I believe one of them being 3-point field goal percentage and free throw percentage. You know, the Citadel's a place that you have to know and you have to live and understand, and Coach Conroy knows that well. He's also got a former player on his staff, John Reynolds, who does an outstanding job. And so those guys are well qualified to help these guys navigate it. You know, so much of the key at the Citadel is you've got to recruit guys that fit the Citadel. And, you know, nobody knows that better than the guy that's done it.
1 of 2 from the line as Heen grabs the board. And off Furman goes. You talk about how quick you feel Joe Anderson makes this team play. Like to go quick. There's the double team, comes down low. Paladins turn it over. A.J. Smith over to the corner. Clark passes up a 3. Then it'll be Mike Bothwell getting called for the block, and 2 at the line for the Bulldogs.
So the foul's starting to pile up. That's 5 on Furman. That's a possession right there that you'd love to see Mike Bothwell rotate, set his feet, and just stay still. But when you move like that, now you've bailed the offense out. That's an easy call right there on the baseline. But Stephen Clark is such a dynamic player for the Citadel because of his ability to play off the bounce, because of his ability to play in the post, and his ability to pass. Really makes the offense go for the Bulldogs.
Clark, 1 of 2 from the line, just a 63% free throw shooter. Second leading scorer on this Citadel team. Bulldogs open up Southern Conference play with a nice win against Chattanooga. Tell you what, having to open up Chattanooga, Sanford, Furman, it's a tough way for Ed Conroy to get welcome back to the Southern Conference. Is that a late whistle, and it'll be a foul with J.P. Pegues going to the line.
And that's the thing about the Southern Conference. This league is so good right now, you are not going to have a team that is not that's an off night, you know. But coming off the free throw right there, J.P. Pegues getting downhill off of that handoff action, gets to the rim, going to get to the free throw line, where right now Furman's 5 of 5.
You talked about the Southern Conference, and obviously with your years in coaching ranks, you've seen kind of the rise of the Southern Conference and the perception of the league and how they're getting, you know, 12, 13, 14 seeds perennially in the NCAA. That's not what it was 10, 15 years ago. And kind of you see the league is rising up and kind of the national respect coming along with it.
Well, it's such a testament to the leadership in Spartanburg. Because, you know, when you think about the Southern Conference, you thought about Stephen Curry and Davidson. You thought about those great college and Charleston teams. And those teams left the league. And then the Southern Conference regrouped to where now it's one of the 12th, 13th best leagues in college basketball. It's an outstanding basketball league.
Down low, whistle. Send Clark back to the line for 2. Fouls now adding up, as you mentioned, 6 for the Paladins. And where that perception of the league matters as you take another look at the foul. You mentioned one of your Charleston teams making the NCAA, and when you get a 13-type seed, you get a winnable game as opposed to a 15, 16 seed. And I think league perception has a little bit to do with that, no matter how good you are, you know, even if you go undefeated or win 3 games in March in your league.
Well, and I think a lot of that has to do with what happens in the non-conference. And nobody's done that better than Furman has. You know, when you talk about the league, the games they've won, the Premier League games with Louisville, Villanova, those types of things, those are the games that impact the seed that you get as a league. And the Southern Conference does a great job with that.
Citadel now 3 of 7 from the line. Furman lead sits at 13 here as we approach the halfway mark of this first half. Paladins still shooting 89% from the field, 8 of 9 here in the early going. Foster would tend to shoot again into the paint, can't get the finish. Loose ball out of bounds, and it'll be Citadel basketball.
Great job getting to the rim right there again by the Paladins. They continue to attack the paint, living at the rim. Need to get some consecutive stops down the defensive end. You know, this is what we've kind of seen. You know, started the game off great, got some consecutive stops, getting transition, but now we've seen consecutive fouls. Coach Ritchie wants to see a clean possession on the defensive end.
Clark all the way, and another whistle, and Stephen Clark, third time in as many possessions, he'll go to the line for 2.
Well, this is what makes the Citadel really hard to guard. You know, so right here, Stephen Clark, this is the second consecutive possession. He's come off of a ball screen. Clearly, Coach Conroy likes this matchup right there with Tyrese Huey. And both times, Stephen Clark has gotten downhill. He's gotten fouled. So these ball screens are starting to add up a little bit. The possession before, Stephen Clark came off of a ball screen that was set by a guard, which you're seeing that more now in the NBA. College basketball is adjusting to it. It's Stephen Clark's versatility allows Coach Conroy to be able to do those type of things.
Clark now 3 of 6 from the line. Bulldogs cut this Paladin lead to 12. That once was 15. Heen down low, working against Clark. Back out to an open J.P. Pegues. That three-pointer's a bit strong. Ball tipped around. How about Foster? Tips it 3 times to himself and earns the second possession.
I love Marcus Foster. Does so much to help Furman win.
And there, Huey on the rebound will have 2 shots at the other end as the Citadel's already in the 1-and-1. It's the second foul on Huey. As you take another look at this rebound. Tips it to him once, twice, and finally maintains possession.
Outstanding job right there by Marcus Foster to use his length and his athleticism to keep that basketball alive, to create a second shot. But got to be a little bit more disciplined right there on that rebound. You know, you got to know when you're not going to get it, because now Furman's going to walk to the Citadel's going to walk to the other end and get 2 free throws.
Then an Engler at the line, just 4 attempts from the line on the year, has made 3 of them. Knocks down the front end of a 1-and-1. Bulldogs without a field goal the last 3 minutes, but crawling back thanks to the free throw line.
Absolutely, that's where they're scoring right now. You know, they hadn't had a lot of success. Furman's done a great job contesting shots, but they've gotten to the free throw line, scoring it right there.
Here knocks down both. Here comes the pound, and Alex Williams back in for Furman. He had a quick 5 points in this 3 minutes of action in this first half. Foster out to Heen. He'll take the 3-pointer. That one's a bit too strong. Paladin is now 2 of 6 from long range. Morgan the other way, trying to go one-on-one against Pegues. Nice defense there by J.P. Pegues.
Absolutely, using his length, arm straight out. A lot of teams call it airplane hands, the airplane wings.
Shot clock now down to 8. Ball sent back up. Driving with it now is Ash. Tough shot, knocks it down as an 8-point game. First points for Ash.
Great job attacking that closeout by Austin Ash. Obviously, Furman knows he's an incredible shooter. Puts it on the deck and gets to the rim.
Paladin is now 3 minutes without a field goal. Bothwell tries to take care of that, and he does. Lowers his shoulder, and the first double-digit scorer here in the game is Mike Bothwell with 10.
And that's one of the great things about having one of the best players in the league. Been around a long time, knows Furman needs a basket, gets right to the front of the rim with a strong hand, scores it.
Nice pass down low. Finishes up and under is Engler. He now has 4.
Citadel continues to set ball screens with their guards. Furman's had a hard time guarding that.
Bothwell sends it over to Williams in the corner. He'll launch the 3. That one's off the mark. Furman's missed their last 4 from long range. Morgan one-on-one against Bothwell. Can't finish, and there's J.P. Pegues there to send it up to Huey, or Foster rather. And now Williams lowers the shoulder. There's going to be a blocking foul. Tell you what, back and forth we go. Nice job on the other end. Mike Bothwell doesn't foul, just forces the contest, and it was a missed layup.
J.P. Pegues comes in, follows the play up, gets the rebound, starts transition, gets it ahead to Alex Williams, plays at the rim, which Furman's done an outstanding job of that tonight, and it's going to result in 2 free throws.
You agree with that block call?
It's close. It's close. But probably moving a little bit to the side.
See, if you're on the bench on either side, that's one that's automatic. That's an obvious call when you're sitting on the bench one way, right?
So the best college officials are the guys that you can have a conversation with. And I loved it as an assistant at the College of Charleston because you know, the head coach didn't want to mess with them.
Right.
And so I love talking to those guys. I would buy drinks at Hall's Chop House if I had to afterwards, but just wanted to talk to them because you're never going to agree with every call.
But the ones that are confident enough to say, here's what I called and here's why, let's talk.
And as long as you can do that as an assistant or a head coach, you're good with it. You know, it's the ones that you have a hard time talking to, that's a little bit harder. Just want to be able to have a dialogue with them, which is communication's key in any relationship.
Williams knocks them both down, pushes the lead back to double digits. Did you ever get teed up as an assistant on the bench?
I did one time. I was an assistant at the Citadel. It was at Gardner-Webb. It was undeserved, and it was about the worst I've ever felt as an assistant. I thought I was going to have to walk home.
I hope you won the game.
We did not.
That makes it tougher.
See, this night is going poorly so far.
Down low with it is Morgan. Again, Furman. Been in double digits. Lead rattles there, goes in, back to 8.
But a better job.
Heating up now,
yeah, better job by Alex Williams right there. Moved his feet, stayed down, contested the shot, make them score over the top of you.
Next whistle will take us to the under 8 media timeout. Keene had Williams in the corner. Instead wants to take it himself and does everything except finish.
Outstanding drive right there.
Quickly all the other way, off the mark, Bothwell. Now Furman with numbers. The team's going quick. Pegues stops, pops. Off the mark, tipped around. Vanderwall loses it into the hands of Austin Ash. Ash 1 on 2, still trying to fight through Pegues. And
putting this program, and he took over for Nico Medved, who obviously had gotten it started before he headed to Drake. But Coach Ritchie does an outstanding job of building what we call coaching togetherness. You know, and whether it's you see the family pictures with staff and players, those types of things, creates a culture where you want to go and play for him, and you want to play for each other. The wins came because of those other things that they've done, and he does an outstanding job building culture.
Ash, a rare miss from the line, and only missed 2 of 28 coming in. Paladins, after a hot start, trying to get it going down low as Bothwell adds to his total.
I don't think
contact.
There's not many coaches in the country that are better out of a timeout than Bob Ritchie. Great job getting a backdoor layup right there. Tough call on the other end, obviously, there with the block. But I love this right here out of the timeout. We played Coach Ritchie and Furman 2 years ago when I was at the College of Charleston. It was the COVID year. It was a game that was replaced because Richmond had canceled on both of us. Yes. And studying Coach Ritchie's teams and out of timeouts as an assistant, they give you all kinds of problems. But an outstanding job getting that back cut right there. Because when Furman's been good right now, it's been because they've gotten to the rim and they've played in the paint.
Tell you what, you probably had a fun job that year trying to fill game. I mean, hard enough to schedule in a normal off-season environment there when you're calling teams up 3 days before saying, hey, if you come to Charleston in 3 days.
Well, the funny thing about that, Richmond beat Kentucky. They're supposed to come to Charleston 2 days later. They cancel day of. They're supposed to play Furman on that Saturday. Then they cancel with Furman, so Coach Ritchie's blowing my phone up, you know. Hey, still, and I didn't get dinner out of it or anything. All I got was about a 20-point loss at Charleston, which never happens.
But he was willing to come to you.
Well,
that was a nice move there.
The College of Charleston got nothing out of that deal, trust me.
8-point Paladin lead. Furman's lead has been as large as 15 here in the opening half. Down low, Manor, graduate student out of Utah. Another whistle. I'll tell you what, when the Paladins have pushed the lead to 15, fouling has been the difference here in about the last 6-7 minutes for Furman defensively.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing right now for him, and this is actually pretty good by Alex Williams. You know, and you can hear the staff to our left yelling to stay down, which they did. So that's a tough one. Of all of them, that was the closest one that you could say might not have been a foul. But, you know, as we had even said with Jalen Slausson's foul earlier, sometimes it's the cumulative effect. Furman has fouled a lot so far in the first half, so the official is used to blowing the whistle.
Citadel already with now 17 free throw attempts in this first half.
It's the easiest,
10 of them.
Easiest shot in basketball right now.
Furman going to the line 9 times, made 8 of them. Paladin is shooting 56%. Citadel now at 44%. 6-point Furman lead. Schlossen's been on the bench since those early 2 fouls. I thought you may see him again mid-first half before he just checked back in. 3-pointer on the way, knocked down Tell you what, every time you feel like Furman needs a shot to get things going, push the lead back up, Mike Bothwell, how about 15 here in the first half?
Yeah, and I'm sure Coach Ritchie and the staff challenged Mike after Saturday, you know, because when you're going to be a player of the year type of guy, you got to go make those types of shots.
Trying to go one-on-one down low. Good defense there without fouling by Marcus Foster.
Whenever Furman plays straight up and down, it makes it really hard for the Citadel to score.
Out of bounds, a lot of contact. I'll tell you what, one way or the other, you would think there'd be a call anyway. It'll be out of bounds. It'll be Furman basketball, but that's where the Furman bench is holding their breath. Is Slauson the one with the contact? Take another look.
Well, everybody is. If you watch the players on the floor, everybody just pauses because it's got to be something. But big 5 minutes right here for Jalen Slauson. I love the trust that Coach Ritchie shows in him right here to go play.
Hello. Pushed. And he'll go to the line for two. You talked a little bit about trust. That's your fifth year that you look at and you said, I'm putting you in, don't foul.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's going to test Jalen's discipline right here on the defensive end, because I can promise you, we come back to the other end, it's going to be something right to the rim against Jalen. But J.P. Pegues does such a good job of getting downhill, whether it's a handoff or a ball screen. That's a naked side action with nobody in the corner. Jalen Slauson, one of the best athletes in the country, playing above the rim.
11 made field goals for Furman, 7 of those assisted. J.P. Pegues helping command that offense as Furman's pushed the lead back to 10. I assume, especially being down in the low country, Jalen Slauson was known very early down there as a big-time prospect.
Yeah, you know, I love Jalen's family. You know, I've still been able to stay in touch with them. My favorite thing is how Jalen has developed skill-wise. You know, shooting 76% from the free throw line so far this year. That's been the biggest area of growth. He was always a great athlete. Now he's a great basketball player. He's got a bright future in front of him.
Quick three-pointer, almost banked in. Pegues with the rebound. Furman going quickly. Bothwell stops, pops. That one's off the mark, short. Tipped around, went under the basket. I'll tell you what, I thought that might have been off the Citadel under the basket. No call. Into the front court, off the glass, and in. Nice finish by Jackson Price. We talked about Furman going quickly. This Citadel team, you know, the style that was under Durger Balcom, they played quick, and you said, hey, they haven't really lost that as that three-pointer is knocked down by Vanderwall. They play quick, but they just look for different type shots. It's not like it's just a super methodical pace and a different style completely.
No, it's not. And that's one thing about the Citadel. You know, you've got to have an identity offensively. And Coach Ed Conroy does an outstanding job coaching shooting. And always had outstanding shooters. They play off of shot fakes very well.
Ash working down low. Arthur Ash been quiet, just 3 points and is out of bounds. Furman basketball, just when the Citadel cut it to 6. A nice run here by Furman, pushes the lead back to 12, 4.5 to go.
Well, and I don't want to make too much of the point, but that's an outstanding job by Furman of being vertical, of not fouling, because when they don't foul, the Citadel has a hard time scoring. That was a scouting defensive stop right there for sure.
Last 4 possessions, Furman defending without fouling, able to push this lead out. Bothwell trying to find Slauson. Oh, what dipped. Will be out of bounds. Furman turns it over just for the 4th time. Citadel 4 turnovers as well. Furman's converted those, however, into 8 points.
And when you think about those two guys, Mike Bothwell and Jalen Slauson, obviously going to go down as one of the best duos in Furman basketball history. How many times have they been in that side ball screen right there? They could probably do that in their sleep.
So Slauson checks out, but while he was in, +4, +5 advantage right there. Did it without fouling, and those were probably the 3 or 4 minutes exactly that Bob Ritchie was looking for out of Jalen Slauson. Came in for about 3 minutes and was able to push the lead out without picking up that 3rd personal.
It's an outstanding job by the coaching staff. Jeremy Grove, Tim Johnson, Chad Warner. You know, they pushed the lead. It's 4-14, so you're going to get a media timeout in about 30 seconds. Let's get Jalen back out, see if we can keep this thing double digits and only get out of here with 2 fouls.
Man-to-man defense has been the case all night here for the Paladins as we go under 4 in this first half. Durr working against Bothwell. Now contact, and it's going to be Marcus Foster whistled, and it'll be 2 shots at the line for the Bulldogs when we come back. Furman up 12 here in Greenville. Bulldogs shooting 2 when we return. Conroy's bunch try to get it to a couple possession game, but Tell you what, JD, you called it this first half for Furman defensively has been the case. You've been getting stops without fouling. It's been free throws that kept the Citadel right here within shouting distance, going to the line for the 18th and 19th time here in this opening half.
Yeah, absolutely. And credit to Furman for what they've done to guard the three-point line. You know, the Citadel's 0 of 3 from 3 right now. Austin Ash, who leads the Southern Conference at 3.8 made three-pointers per game right now. Outstanding shooters for Coach Rick Conroy and the Bulldogs. Furman's done a great job of taking away the three-point line.
Second free throw rattles home. 10-point game, 3:45 to go here. J.P. Pegues running the offense for this Furman team.
And such a big 4 minutes right here for both teams. Coach Ritchie's telling his team, can we push that lead from 12 to 14? Coach Conroy's saying, can we take away from it?
Shot clock down to 10. Pegues sends it over to Heen. He'll launch a three-pointer at the back rim. Again, Marcus Foster keeps it alive. Second time he's tapped it to himself.
Absolutely. Great job by Marcus using his length to keep that one alive. I don't think Coach Conroy thought that was a good offensive rebound, though.
Marcus Foster, he's rewarded with his first three-pointer. You saw the double team, JD, come on the block. That left it open Foster. It seems like when Furman's had it on the post, double team comes, and that's what Bob Ritchie likes, inside-out basketball.
And that's the great thing about Gary. I mean, he's such a skilled guy, you know, as a passer, as a ball handler, as a shooter. He created that basket for his teammate.
Furman 5 of 13 from long range. This Bulldog team who can knock him down. Only 3 attempts, as you mentioned, JD. Furman guarding the perimeter well. Clark down low, 1 to shoot, can't get it to fall, and a good rebound by Heen. Rebounds right now adding up in favor of the Paladins, 16-11.
Stephen Clark continues to take it down on the block. He can score it down there. Also a great passer in the post.
Foster drives, and going to be a blocking foul, or no, they're going to call offensive foul on Marcus Foster. I was going to say it was outside the restricted area. That's taking that charge was Madison Durr, who's a little slow to get up. Take another look, and
so Madison
outside the arc.
Yeah, Madison Durr went to prep school at Hargrave Military Academy in Hargrave, Virginia, one of the most renowned prep schools in the country. Does a great job moving his feet, but I was talking to assistant coach John Reynolds before the game. I love his physical strength. You look at his assist to turnover numbers right now, 41 assists to 27 turnovers. So he plays within himself. He knows who he is as a player. I asked John Reynolds, who I coached at the Citadel for 1 year. He was a senior. When I arrived, we also had another player by the name of Cameron Wells, who ended up being the all-time leading scorer at the Citadel. And so I said, John, you know, don't get mad at me right here. But he reminds me of Cam, you know, because of his physical strength. And I was actually kind of glad. John said, yeah, JD, maybe a little bit.
He gave you a little recognition.
At least a little bit, right? But that's a tall comparison right there for the young Madison Durr.
Here's A.J. Smith down low. Contact, no call. Furman now go the other way quick. Pegues to Bothwell. Open 3 in front of the Bulldog bench. Laid a little bit short. Bothwell's been sitting on 15. That's his first, make it second field goal miss. Quick three-pointer launched on the other end as Ash forced one up.
And that's the thing with Austin Ash. Like, he'll shoot some that you don't expect him to shoot. He's such a good shooter off the bounce. It's probably been one of the things that impressed me the most about his shooting ability.
Ash been held quiet, just 3 points, 1 of 4 from the field. Nice pass to Huey, and did everything but make it. Good find by Anderson. That would have tied the Paladins' largest lead at 15. Back at 23-8. Blocked to McAllister. Gets it back. Nice find down low. Misses the layup. Furman scrambled defensively. It paid off.
Outstanding job right there by Citadel, by Furman, just continuing to scramble. Gets the stop at the rim. Leads to that transition opportunity.
Vanderwall back in. Huey to take a seat. Take another look at that block. And now you're in scramble mode defensively. What do you tell your teams like this? You're running to the ball?
No, well, we always would call it put out the fire. You know, so we put out the first one with the contest. We get the second one with Tyrese Huey there on the closeout. Now can you make the third one and the fourth one? Mike Bothwell comes down, doesn't foul, contests at the rim. Defensive rebound leads to transition.
Bulldogs just one of their last 10 from the floor. Rattles around off the rim, lit on the basket right now for the Citadel.
And this is where I love to watch Furman. You got a minute to go. see if they go 2 for 1, which they typically will.
Bothwell down low, and he'll force the foul. And there's the 2 for 1 you mentioned, the heady graduate student. So you said about 10-point Furman lead, 3.5 to go, big minutes. So far, Furman has a chance now to push it to 15. Seems like that pendulum switching a little bit of the way to the Paladins here as we approach halftime.
Absolutely. You know, you get Mike Bothwell right here to the rim on this drive, and that's why Mike Bothwell is going to be such a good player professionally when his days are done at Furman. Knows the time, knows the score, gets downhill to the rim, gets fouled, and step up here and knock these 2 free throws down. Coach Conroy is going to come with some type of, not necessarily a quick action, because they're only going to get 1 possession. But Furman still has their use it or lose it timeout, so you might see a timeout from Coach Ritchie after this Citadel possession.
Lead back to 15, ties the largest of the night. Citadel in a scoring drought. Clark down low, working against Heen. Heen stays down, forces a tough make, and that's if you don't mind for Garrett Heen. You force a tough bucket. Nice job staying down, nice finish.
Yeah, sometimes the offense is just better than the defense. That's outstanding defense. Stephen Clark's a good post player down there.
Clark now 11 points for the senior out of Charlotte, leading scorer for the Bulldogs. 6-second differential shot in game clock as Furman can't quite hold for the last shot, and they'll turn it over. Now the Bulldogs a chance to cut it to 11 or 10 here with the shot clock turned off. Ball in the hands of Clark. Takes a ball screen. Looks like he wants to send it back out to Ash. Ash loses it. Furman quickly gets it back. Allen has had a timeout if they want it. And tell you what, a jump ball, the arrow would be for the Paladins. I'll tell you what, I don't know if Furman wants that necessarily, because you may prefer having the basketball coming out of timeout than about, what, 0.5 seconds left.
Well, and it says something to you about Austin Ash, you know, the Iowa native, transfer from the University of Iowa. He immediately knew the jump ball situation, even right there at the end of the first half. But this is a great finish right here. Furman's had 2 outstanding defensive possessions in these last 4 minutes. Those are the type of clips that you're going to see tomorrow on the edit with the team that Coach Ritchie and the staff are going to emphasize. When they have those type of defensive possessions, they're really good.
And Conroy is still talking to the officials saying, hey, why wasn't that a jump ball at the end of the half? But they will say it will be halftime. Both teams go to the locker room as we finish the first 20 minutes in Greenville.
From a Furman side, it's now can we continue to build on this? Let's not get bored, for lack of a better word. You know, can we play better in the second half than we did in the first?
Then Coach Bob Ritchie, I imagine that's, hey, more of the same, less fouls.
Absolutely.
Furman with the basketball. As we get the second half underway, Bothwell, how about that? Fights through contact, high off the glass, and he picks up right where he left off. He has 17.
And that's just a testament to his physical strength. Gets downhill to his left, his strong hand, plays strong at the rim, and got that up there. I didn't think he did get that to the rim. That's a great finish.
Furman, who leads the league in field goal percentage, starts out there, and there's the first 3-pointer of the night for the Bulldogs. Didn't take long here in the second half.
No, it did not. They're going to get plenty of threes up in the second half. I can promise you that.
Slauson starting there with those 2 fouls. Furman 3 trying to respond. That's off the front of the rim offensive board. 1 more over to Slauson. Heen into the paint, back out to Bothwell. Now 10 on the shot clock. Slauson with 6 to shoot, working against Dirk. Double team comes, tries to pass and throws it away. Was looking for Marcus Foster.
Outstanding cut by Marcus Foster right there, though.
3 from the corner, back-to-back from long range. You said the 3-pointer would keep coming and start falling, and the Bulldogs knocked down 2 on the first 2 possessions.
Yeah, Jackson Price made 3 threes in the win over Chattanooga at home last Saturday. Comes out and hits a big one right there to start the second half.
Should be a 9-point Furman lead, 45-36. Going for 3 in a row. That one's off the mark. Foster with the rebound. Pegues over to Foster. That 3-pointer's on the way. And you see Furman getting a lot of those open looks after a paint touch.
Absolutely. Marcus Foster continues to knock down open threes. We talked about it in the opening tonight. Whenever Marcus Foster plays well, Furman plays really well offensively. Big 3 right there.
On the other end, that falls off the mark. Furman quickly back the other way. It's really interesting. You talk about how fast Furman plays. You alluded to Joe Anderson earlier. Any 5 out there really can bring the ball up for the Paladins at any time. You don't have to get into the hands of one player in particular, as Heen can't make it from long range.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that makes basketball so unique right now. There are no more positions in basketball. You know, they're basketball players. So you got to be able to dribble it, got to be able to pass it, got to be able to shoot it. Coach Ritchie and his staff do an outstanding job evaluating players and their ability to do that.
3-point barrage coming in for the Citadel. They made the first 2, and then Furman responded. And tell you what, is it mental? You know both these teams can shoot the 3, but a team like the Citadel that makes none in the first half, is it, hey, keep shooting the belief? Or, I mean, you don't just go away and lose how to shoot overnight.
No, as a shooter, you always think the next one's going in. Whenever Coach Ritchie and I would play noontime hoops in Charleston, I never saw him took a shot he didn't think was going in. So I can promise you every player's like that.
A.J. Smith at least. I'll say that there's many. I know Mr. Oglesby, who's sometimes here, would agree with you. Slauson takes it all the way down, a late whistle, he'll go to the line.
A.J. Smith
jokes. We joke with him that he never saw a shot he didn't like, but he never saw a defensive situation that he thought was a good thing to defend as you take another look.
No, absolutely. Terrence, one of the most outstanding shooters in Clemson basketball history. We were at a game together at Clemson early in the year this year, and Terrence's son was with us, and I was telling his son, I said, hey, you know, your dad and I have a lot in common. You know, we both have the same good looks.
Same hairstyle.
Yeah, with same hairstyle. We both wore numbers in the 20s at Clemson. But Terrence was quick to respond. He made a lot more threes than I did. And he's absolutely right.
1 of 2 from the line. 49-38. Furman out in front. Furman's Bothwell, 19, the only Paladin in double scores. You have Foster next highest with 8. Nice find down low. Slauson goes up to contest, and that'll be 3rd on Jalen Slauson. He doesn't like the call. Going up hard was Jackson Price as you take another look.
A.J. Smith has been really effective for the Citadel this year. You know, when he can make threes, you have to come up and guard him. And then they got into the side ball screen action right there. He's rolling to the rim, good athlete. Watching him in pregame warm-ups with their staff, he's bigger than I thought he was. You know, and obviously I'd seen him at Clemson 2 months ago, but just looking at his body, really big, strong guy, can make a 3, can pass the ball for Coach Conroy. There you see him on the ball screen roll and get to the free throw line.
Knocks down the first. Vanderwall back in for the Paladins. Marcus Foster taking a seat. So interesting move here. Coach Ritchie was going to at least temporarily leave in Jalen Slauson, and now it looks like he'll check out with that 3rd foul. You like this?
I do, you know, because right now as Jalen comes over and Coach Ritchie puts his arm around him, they're going to talk about being patient. You're up 10 right now. You got a media timeout coming in about 42 seconds. Still a long game. You know, you still got a lot of time to play. So,
like you say, a pretty mature conversation as Vanderwall launches a 3 and knocks it down. Another for the freshman. You saw the respect there, not only between Coach Ritchie and Slauson, but Slauson back to Coach Ritchie. And they're having a pretty candid conversation on, hey, keeping your head in it and why you took him out of the game and where you need you. And you don't kind of, I mean, you spend a lot of time talking to a lot of athletes. You don't always see that communication back and forth.
No, it speaks to the relationship and the culture that Coach Ritchie has built here at Furman. Outstanding job by Ben Vanderwall. Just keeping his feet moving right there in the post, keeping his hands straight up. I love what he brings to this team defensively off the bench.
Just a freshman. I mean, smart player.
Job. You know, it shows his hands. In some ways, that's what you would like Jalen Slauson to do on that rotation right there where he picked up the 3rd foul. Just go right there and put your hands straight up. You don't have to block it.
Ball out to Williams. Inside-out basketball. The Furman Paladins have made 8 from long range, and just like that, the largest lead of the night at 16.
Part of what makes Furman so hard to guard is their post players' ability to step out and stretch the defense making threes. Alex Williams knocking down his 2nd one tonight. Alex
Williams now with 10 points. And a foul coming on the other end by Alex Williams.
Furman coming out hot to start the 2nd half. Ben Vanderwall knocking down the corner 3, followed by Alex Williams. Paladins are up by 16.
Furman strikingly similar through the first 15 games of this year and last year. JD, if you go down line by line, it's really hard to find anything outside of 3 or 4 points comparison. And Coach Ritchie's saying, hey, the expectations on this team are so high. Almost get a little frustrated with the fan base and others saying, hey, we're right where we are, and the upside is very, very high as you head into January.
There's nothing harder than being the preseason favorite in a one-bid league. We were in 2017-18 at the College of Charleston. We were fortunate enough to get to the championship and win that game. But it's such a long season now in college basketball, and so you just have to keep the journey in mind, be about the process, and take it one day at a time. I know that's just a cliche, but that's the reality of it.
6-0 run over the last minute thanks to a couple three-pointers. Citadel looks to respond out of the timeout. Price can't knock it down.
I had a chance to visit with Jalen Slauson before the season. We've known each other for a long time, and that was my message to him. That year that we were fortunate enough to get to the championship and win it at Charleston, it was because we kept it one day at a time and enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. Because if your mindset is always about, I want to get to this or that, it can get really hard fast.
Heen was doing his best Jalen Slauson impression on that dunk when he's fouled on good and line for 2. Slauson, he's had don't want to call him a regular, but he is definitely more than an infrequent visitor on SC top 10s with some of his dunks he's had this year.
He might have gotten one on us at the College of Charleston back in TD Arena. And that was obviously a huge night for him, being a Somerville native. He used to come to our camps at the College of Charleston. Just a really, really quality young man. So proud of him. You see him on the sideline right there, standing up, cheering for his teammates, clapping. Just a really, really quality person.
Furman lead now at 17. After being up by 13 here at the half. Price in the corner trying to go that low to Durr, and he loses Morgan rather, and loses it out of bounds. And so does the Bulldogs turn it over for the 7th time.
So much of it right now for Coach Ritchie and the Paladins, putting together consecutive defensive possessions. Great closeout right there by Garrett, has his hands up. Mike in the post playing defense leads to a turnover.
Tackle on the other end, missed off the rim. Citadel wants to go quick. 4-on-4 into the front court with it as Ash stops, pops. Hey, you talked about off the dribble. You impressed how he shot. That one in and out.
And Jeremy Groh, associate head coach, was up yelling that quicker than we were.
It's like y'all both know how to scout.
We've done it a few times. Jeremy's one of the best in the business. Just talking to, I don't know him as well as I know some of the other guys on staff, but talking to Coach Ritchie about him over the years, does an outstanding job. He's got a really bright future for him, as the entire staff does. Tim Johnson does an outstanding job. Chad Warner coming over from Shorter gave Coach Ritchie that element of a former head coach to, just share that experience of being in that seat. Great staff.
Yeah, and you mentioned Chad Warner voluntarily leaving the head position to be able to come and get on the staff of Coach Bob Ritchie, share a lot of similar styles. But tell you what, and you've been a bit, when you can have a former head coach come in and that have dealt in the shoes you're in, even at a different level, pretty valuable.
No, it's invaluable because, until you sat in that chair, you just don't know what those decisions are like. And so credit to Coach Ritchie. Chad Warner's been a friend of his for a long time. He trusts him, believes in him, and he's done a great job just stepping in and finding a niche.
There you see part of the brain trust there on the bench. Furman back with the basketball, the 17-point lead. Slowly pushing it out. Nice pass to Huey, finishes off the glass. 18th field goal to go along with the Paladins' 13th assist.
Outstanding ball screen roll. The ball screen in the middle of the floor is the hardest one to guard because it takes the furthest to go to tag it. Great pass right there.
Bench trying to get this crowd into it. Timmons has been a tough place to play over the last 5 years. Acting that way tonight, even without the student body back from the holiday break.
It's been one of my favorite things tonight is just being back in Timmons. Hadn't been here in the 10 years, but watched a lot of games. It's turned into a great home court for the Paladins.
Tough finish by Ash. 2 shots for him. He's made a hand in his face. You saying your first time back to Timmons since you were assistant, or one of the first since you've coached, but you got a chance to go back as Vanderwall tries for his 3rd three, and he knocks it down. Give Vanderwall 11. You got a first-hand look at some of the facility upgrades up there, and something you might have wished you had when you were here.
So it's funny, Coach Ritchie told me before the game, hey, meet me in my office, which, you know, obviously knew that. My office was up there as well. I knew they'd moved across the hall. But I go through one door, and I got lost because they've walled some stuff off. It is incredible. It's a credit to Jason Donnelly and what the administration is doing here at Furman, and they're just getting started. There's a lot of big things to come.
How about big rebound there by Vanderwall? The freshman, 11.6 rebounds. That is tough as any. Bothwell has it poked away. Williams looking to defend. Tough, doesn't get a call. Wanted it was Morgan, but a nice job by Williams. Up to Huey off the glass, and the Paladin leaves exploded. And a timeout taken by Ed Conroy.
Outstanding job by the Paladins right there. Mike Bothwell pushes it in transition. Doesn't get the call. Ball goes the other way. Alex Williams with an outstanding pass as a post player. Furman's rolling. Off of the ball, sees ball and man, will rotate, take charges. He does a lot of little things that helps make Furman better.
Furman a 14-2 run over the last 4.5 minutes. They've hit their last 3 from the field. I feel like Citadel used so much energy right out of the second half. They hit some from long range. You thought, okay, they'll stay in this basketball game, and then you look up 8 minutes into this second half, and the Paladins up 22 rather.
Yeah, whenever Furman's defending at the level that they are right now in this second half, they're very, very good.
There can be an offensive foul. Wave off the basket. And Conroy on the sideline, he doesn't believe it. The officials are going to have a conversation, as I think they're trying to figure out, JD, did the basket count because it left his hand? And they're going to change it to a blocking foul, so count the basket as it went to the restricted area. We'll take another look on the other side of the break. It'll be the Bulldogs going to the line. When we come back, Furman up 20. Fifth foul to count the basket, and Clark going to the line for an and-one play. So, yeah, it's still a 20-point game, but that's a big sort of momentum shift in this basketball game, still with plenty of time left.
But we've talked a lot about Jalen Slauson and not getting frustrated with officials. Yeah. Coach Ritchie's up 20, so he can get pretty upset with the officials because what he's trying to send a message to his team is, I got you. You know, I got your back. Telling Jalen, you don't have to be worried about that stuff. Let me worry about it. And so Jalen comes over to calm Coach Ritchie. I love it.
Sure, if the Paladins win this one, Jalen will have some fun with that one in the film room, saying, Coach, I got your back here. Shot clock down to 3. Bothwell, top of the key, step back 3 on the way. Count it. Mike Bothwell, have yourself a night. 22 points for the 5th year out of Cleveland Heights, Ohio.
Great job creating space and that step back dribble late in the shot clock. Sometimes great offense is just better than really good defense.
Ash thought about it, gets it down to Clark. Wanting to go one-on-one against Slauson. Clark loses it over to Slauson. Battle right in front of the Bulldog bench, and Furman comes away with an 8 turnover for the Bulldogs.
And those are the kind of plays you love to see from your preseason all-conference guy, Jalen Slauson. Up 23, diving on the 4 steal.
There, a foul will be Furman going back to the line as the Paladins have pushed this lead out to 23. I tell you what, you talked about Vanderwall. You've seen him shoot it. The freshman's aggressive, and they're taking it off the dribble, showing a little bit of everything.
Yeah, really skilled. You know, skilled basketball player. Coach Ritchie and the staff, as I said earlier, you know, do a great job of evaluating prospects. And we've talked a lot about it, his process for doing that. Obviously, Ben fits their system great. Outstanding shot fake and drive by Jalen Slauson, creates that shot from Mike Bothwell.
Bothwell has 25, and tell you what, Furman's threes coming in a rhythm, inside out. You talked about Slauson creating that shot. You know, the difference in shots that go up quickly and those threes that kind of earn inside out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in the NBA, they would say assisted field goals, and the points per possession and assisted field goals is much higher in the ones that aren't. And Furman, obviously one of the best in the country at assisted field goals, and there's another one.
Vanderwall with 14. The Paladins have hit 12 from long range, and a timeout for the Citadel as the Furman lead sits at 29 points.
And that's such a big thing for Furman. Whenever they can make 12 plus threes in a game, they're really, really hard to beat. 72 points, 10 minutes to go. Great rhythm, and it's a great answer to Saturday. You know, obviously, disappointing loss at Western Carolina to a team that I think is good. at Western Carolina, and that's a tough place to play. You go up there in late December, early January, it's cold and rainy. I shared with Coach Ritchie an experience where we lost an early season game like that the year we won the championship at Drumston. And
we talked about these assists. The Paladin has 23 made field goals. They've done it tonight on 17 assists, and you can see when you have, 3 of the top 8 assists in the league. And Slauson did it last possession, but you got Bothroyd, you got Peace, you got others that can do it. It's a nice treat to have.
Well, Jalen Slauson has become so good at playing out of a shot fake from the top of the key. When we played Furman 2 years ago at the College of Charleston, in my scout study, it was one of the biggest takeaways that I had. And at the time, he wasn't even, I don't want to say, a great three-point shooter. He's obviously improved in it, 34% now this season. He makes enough to keep you honest. But he uses that shot fake so well to set up the drive, to get to the rim, and then to create for teammates. That's an outstanding possession right there.
Vanderwall's 14, a career high for the freshman. So if Coach Conroy down 29, what are you saying in that timeout? Obviously you're trying to bring your system in. You're trying to, learn your style back. This is more about how you play the last 10 minutes, I assume?
Yeah, absolutely. And even when you go back to their win over Chattanooga last week, they were the tougher, scrappier team. And so right now you're just trying to stay in your identity. And Coach Conroy is one of the best at that. The Citadel will finish this well.
Bulldogs lit on the basket here, scoreless over the last 3 minutes. Furman's pushed this lead out thanks to a barrage from long range, and Bothroyd does about everything but get the roll. Fifth year closing in on 30 points. Morgan tries to find a trailer. Maynard, who knocks it down. Graduate out of Utah stops the Paladin run.
And the transfer from Utah, talking to the staff at the Citadel earlier in the year, when they evaluate transfers, they want to take a guy that fits the Citadel, whether he's an undergrad coming in as a freshman or as a transfer. Assistant John Reynolds told me Coach Conroy is really intentional that they have to fit the Citadel. If they wouldn't recruit him out of high school, they're not going to evaluate him and take him as a transfer. But he's one of those guys that brought something really solid to this Citadel program this year.
Alex Williams back in for the Paladins. Vanderwall takes a seat.
Really valuable minutes right there from Ben Vanderwall. And, you just hope as we move into January and continue through February into March that he can continue to provide that type of offensive production, because he's outstanding on defense.
Heen back out to Pegues, can't knock it down, but saw Garrett Heen. He attracted 3 defenders. It led to an open J.P. Pegues shot. Quickly the other way, Clark with a two-handed jam.
Stephen Clark is an outstanding athlete. He had a couple of high-level finishes above the rim against Chattanooga. Gets out in transition right there. The staff won't be happy about that. And the Citadel's back in transition again.
Furman still shooting north of 50% from the field. Bulldogs at 36% from the night. All 3 3-pointers for Citadel in the second half. That tough layup missed, and here comes Alex Williams leading the run. Sophomore out of Ohio, working at Clark. Hands straight up, has those 4 personal fouls, so Clark can't pick up the 5th.
And you got the staff on the Furman bench telling Alex Williams as he's coming down that he's got 4, but an outstanding job by Stephen Clark being vertical in the post.
Shot missed by Williams, rebound by Ash. Been a quiet night for Ash, just 5 points, 2 of 10 from the field, 0 of 5 from long range. A blocking foul. Count the basket for Stephen Clark. That would have been the 5th. Instead, he'll go to the line to try to complete the 3-point play. Take another look.
Yeah, I think that Coach Ritchie's reaction was very similar to ours. But Furman's rolling right now on the offensive end. Some time with the Citadel staff before the season, when I had their opener at Clemson, they talked about their young guards, and so they were going to use Stephen Clark a little bit as a facilitator. And obviously Madison Durr is older now, deeper into the season, but you still see Stephen Clark's ability to create offense for teammates really solid whenever he drives it or posts at the rim.
Little full court pressure. Furman beats it no problem. And they'll set up the half court offense. When you had a lead and your teams would get pressed and you're able to beat the press, what's the balance between making a team penalize it and keep attacking with numbers versus kind of be responsible with the basketball with the lead?
Yeah, so I'm a layup dunk foul guy. Go play at the rim, Furman's the more athletic team. But obviously Coach Ritchie loves those transition open threes, but I want to play at the rim. And obviously Furman's got the guys to do that.
Clark sends it over to the corner. Morgan, he thought about a three. Now step back two on the way, knocks it down.
He made that shot, but that's an outstanding closeout by Jalen. They had a shot fake. He stayed on his feet, contested the shot, just made the shot.
Quick 10-0 Citadel run, cut the Furman lead to 19 after it had ballooned up to 29 at 72-43. Anderson over to McGee's, trying to get it to Heen on the block. McGee's nice find to Alex Williams, count it. And Alex Williams to go to the line to try to complete the three-point play. Hold your breath. If that was a charge coming, I think he might have had a gasket blown over to our left.
No, it's a great pass by Pegues. Even better cut by Alex Williams out of the corner. Austin Ash turns his head, able to get that back cut right there on the baseline. Those are the type of possessions, because that's not a set play. You know, that's just guys playing basketball. That's all those summer workouts, spring workouts with the staff where you're just working on that cut, that pass. Outstanding movement without the ball right there by Alex Williams.
The fifth foul on Stephen Clark, so the senior out of Charlotte will foul out with 18 points, 6 of 11 for the field, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in 25 minutes of action. Maybe third time's the charm as he gets whistled for that fifth foul, but big minutes there by the senior. He's going to be a big piece for the Citadel team, and even if they don't get maybe the wins that he's hoping for this year, you'll look back and Ed Conroy, maybe not if, when he gets the Citadel team back to the top of the Southern Conference. You'll look back and his players like Stephen Clark that stuck around that maybe helped him do that.
Yeah, you know, talking to the staff again, like I said before the season, Stephen Clark, the transfer from out west, and then Elijah Morgan, who came from Notre Dame, Austin Ash from Iowa. You know, those guys are foundation-building guys.
That three-pointer knocked down. Williams, again, uses the pump fake. He'll go to the line for 2. Bulldogs heating up from long range. They've hit 4 in the second half after none in that first half. But you look over, Furman's hit 12. 24-point differential as the lead sits at 19 with 2 more coming at the line for Alex Williams, who has, I don't want to say a quiet 13, but 13 points, and he's kind of spaced it out a bit to go along 14 minutes of action.
No, Alex Williams has been really good, you know, and it's kind of been one of those things for Coach Ritchie. Which guy is going to step up off the bench? You know, because last week it was Tyrese Hewitt and made some big threes against VMI. Obviously, Alex Williams, a really skilled passer in transition. Can make threes, outstanding finisher. I love his body, you know, and his physical ability to guard. Can be an outstanding defender. Would like him to not use his hands quite so much, but he's an aggressive guy. You don't want to take that away from him.
Williams knocks them both down. 15 now for Alex Williams. Leads back north of 20. Morgan tries a backdoor cut. Deflected, though, into the hands of Engler. McAllister thought about a 3, working on Vanderwall. Nice job by Vanderwall staying down, and the freshman blocks it out of bounds. Kind of running out of ways to describe this freshman.
No, you really are. You know, I mean, just great job being vertical right there. And, you know, I give Furman credit. You know, they've done a much better job in the second half of playing without fouling. Coach Ritchie wants to be aggressive defensively. They want to create turnovers, but you want to play without fouling. And they've done a great job of that in the second half. And when they have, Citadel's had a hard time scoring.
Out of bounds, Furman basketball. Tough three-pointer launched by Ash in the corner. Ash now just 3 of 11, make it 3 of 12 from the field, 1 of 7 from long range. But he has a quick release. Tell you what, you catch him on the wrong night when they're falling, you can see how he puts up the points that he does. No,
and he's not afraid to shoot it early in the possession. He gets a lot of them in transition. That's why you heard the Furman bench yelling earlier in the second half whenever he was dribbling down the floor. If you're not up there, he's going to shoot it.
Nice finish by Williams. And tell you what, he's one of those X-factor players when Alex Williams has a game like he does tonight with the other weapons that Furman kind of has perennially night in, night out. This Paladin team's tough to beat.
They are, and that's a big part of the evaluation process for Coach Ritchie and his staff as they're looking at prospects, because Furman's at a point now where they get to choose who they want to recruit, and but they want to take guys that are the right fit for them on the court and off the court. But they're going to take skilled offensive guys, and Alex Williams is a great example of that. McAllister knocks down just his 5th three-pointer of the season, his first bucket tonight. Lead sits at 20 as we approach 5 minutes to go in this second half. As Furman's pushed a 13-point halftime lead up to as many as 29 here in this second half. Heen
Layup, count it. No, they're going to wave it off. Offensive foul on Garrett Heen. Wave off the basket. And it's going to be the second personal foul on the junior out of Charlotte.
Great job by Dylan Engler right there in the post of continuing to move his feet. The Citadel does a great job keeping their body in front. They know who they are. They're not going to try to go up to the rim and block shots. Stay in position and takes that charge.
McAllister coming off that three, working against Vanderwall, trying to take the freshman down low. Vanderwall forces him under the bucket, but is going to get whistled for the foul. It's going to be the 7th Furman team foul. McAllister will go to the line for a 1-and-1.
But even in that possession right there, as the ball was driven, J.P. Pegues is guarding Austin Ash right there, and he stays connected to Austin Ash. That's a big part of the scout right there, obviously coming into the game. You're trusting that Ben can guard the ball one-on-one. Outstanding team defense right there by Furman.
First free throw for McAllister is good. Looking around the league, other action in the second half. Mercer a 3-point lead over Wofford down in Macon. That's 3 minutes to go. How about Western Carolina coming off that big win against Furman? They have a 12-point lead in Johnson City. Late second half, and as UNCG up on Chattanooga, Stanford up on VMI. Both those games in the second half. So tell you what, something may be brewing up in Cullowhee. Could you get 2 good wins back-to-back for the Catamounts?
Their guards are as good as anybody in the league. I watched the Furman Western game online the other day. Western gets the win. I immediately text associate head coach at Western Carolina, Jason G., a veteran of the coaching industry who's been around for a long time, and just told him how impressed I was by his team.
Chance for a 3-point play. Alex Williams fouls the jump shooter and knocks it down as Foster will come back in. Alex Williams done a lot of good things tonight. As you take another look, just gets right into the landing zone. He'll check out with these 17 points. Learning moments. There you see Bob Ritchie having a conversation with Williams as he checks out. And
no, absolutely.
This is what's impressive is when the coaching moments, 2 or 3 possessions later, and you can tell they're not just having a conversation that's superficial. This is
no, it's a two-way conversation.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those things where Coach Ritchie said something, Alex asked a question. You know, and again, you know, we talked about the culture piece that they have at Furman. Coach Ritchie, the staff, give them credit. Give Jessica Ritchie credit for that because they've hosted a lot of team meals over there at their house.
Nice backdoor pass to Foster. Cuts off, hesitates, gets the roll. Marcus Foster now in double digits with 10.
Outstanding job of being able to play off of 2 feet. Great pivot. Scores it at the rim.
Nice pass down low. Vanderwall gets called for the hack. And it'll be free throws for the Bulldogs when we come back from our last media timeout.
I love this play right here at the rim. Furman gets right there to the front of the basket, able to play off of 2 feet and score it at the basket.
Go of it tonight here in Greenville, trailing by 19. They're opening up the conference with a tough stretch. Really nothing easy in the Southern Conference after Chattanooga and Sanford. Tonight here in Greenville, they'll head over to Spartanburg to take on a Wofford team. Talk about a team going through transition. You have your head coach kind of resign, some questions about practice time. You have Dwight Perry take over, and but winning in Spartanburg is tough. And the Paladins will have to hit 2 on the road, and another tough road stretch. You'll go to Johnson City and then Macon, 2 tough places to play.
Yeah, Southern Conference basketball has never been better. You go on the road, there are no easy nights, but just some great atmospheres and some great places. You know, to see what, you know, East Tennessee State coming back to the league and what Freedom Hall is like, those are some incredible environments. And so, no, there's no easy nights in the Southern Conference, but it's a great bounce back tonight by the Paladins. And you mentioned Wofford. As a former assistant, it's our dream to always have a chance to be a head coach, you know, and so text Dwight Perry, just thrilled to death for him. That's not how he envisioned it happening. But my message to him, hey, man, just go make the most of it. And he's doing that right now. Really proud of what he's doing over in Spartanburg.
Having to keep that group together through tough circumstances. They're trying to get a big win at Macon tonight. They're trailing Mercer by 3 under a minute to go. Up in Hawkins Arena. It's that foul going against the Bulldogs. We'll send Furman back to the line. Both these teams been a little foul happy. Furman now at 9 in the second half. Bulldogs going to be up with 8. It's going to be a 1-and-1 for Jalen Slauson. Slauson tonight, 5 points, just 15 minutes of those foul troubles, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. But, you know, some nights you don't need to score. It's kind of, you've seen them engaged most of the way out there, even with some early foul trouble.
Yeah, and that was my thing to Coach Ritchie when we talked about it before the game. You know, watching the Western Carolina game, I think he's the best defensive player in the league. Not just only because of his ability to rebound, but he can switch ball screens. He can guard 1 through 5. And so I love his engagement on the defensive end. Obviously, he's a terrific offensive player, but he impacts the game so many ways. So now if you're Furman coming in this last 3.5 minutes, you just want to finish well. You know, you still got a few starters on the floor. You've played outstanding defensively. You've got a team in the 60s. Can you finish this without fouling, without giving up layups, and then get some of these guys off the bench in the game?
It's Mike Bothwell, one-handed jam. Pitch points tonight. You talked about the productivity for the Paladins coming in. 35 pitch points tonight. The season high was 47, but that was against Tusculum, a lower division team. As that three-pointer is knocked down by McAllister, the freshman out of Spanish Fort, Alabama, with a couple from long range.
And obviously the story is going to be how well Furman shot it from 3. But you mentioned it earlier, and we talked about what Furman is shooting from 2. When they play at the basket, I think that's a big key moving forward because it leads to free throws. They're outstanding. As we said, shooting 63% from 2 so far this year. They put so much pressure on the defense with their ability to drive, the back cuts, all those types of things. I think they're best when they're playing at the rim because that sets up those threes.
Furman tonight, 19 of 22 from the line. You talk about playing from the rim. Furman 34 points in the paint. A lot of that came early, JD, that kind of set up that outside shot. As Slauson, one-handed jam, takes off about midway down the lane, and the timeout taken by the Citadel as Furman's pushed it up to a 22-point lead.
And it's set up by a shot fake. You know, Jalen on the perimeter shows that shot fake. It's hard not to go for it. Gets downhill, able to extend and be athletic at the rim. I love his ability and the player development that he's had over the course of these 5 years. It's going to make him a really good pro in the not-too-distant future.
You talked about his pro potential for what Jalen Slauson could do. He maybe has the physique to do it. Mike Bothwell, those have kind of been the tandem, too, as you take a look at the BMW player of the game tonight. Mike Bothwell, 27 points. See those 5 rebounds, 6 assists, but he's been efficient, 10 of 14, and it hasn't just been scoring. He's done it all over the court.
Yeah, both of these guys have. You know, they can do it a lot of different ways. Obviously, tonight, Mike was outstanding offensively. Jalen was outstanding creating shots for other guys. And as we talk about potential after college, you know, for guys like Mike and Jalen, when we were at the College of Charleston, we were fortunate we had 2 guys drafted in the NBA, and every NBA scout would say the same thing. One of the best things you can do now is go win basketball games. It's not about the stats. You know, the NBA guys that come and watch players like these guys, they know they can play. Otherwise, they wouldn't show up and watch them. Now it's one of those things, can you lead your team and win basketball games? Can you find ways to impact winning, just like what you said with Jalen, when you don't score it offensively? And both of these guys are able to do that.
Furman has hit their last 7 from the field. Bulldogs have hit 4 of their last 5 as the offensive has picked up. Here's Durr, the freshman out of Atlanta, guarded by Bothwell. 3-point been kind to the Bulldogs here in the second half. That one rims out. You talk about what Furman has upcoming as a whistle against the Citadel. 4 of the Paladins' next 5 on the road, with the exception of UNC Greensboro at home. If you got aspirations of winning that Southern Conference Championship, JD, you kind of got spurts in the season you probably look at as a coach, and this 5-game stretch upcoming, if you can get a handful of those on the road, you're probably setting yourself good for some home games in Timmins as the season winds down.
You do. Winning road basketball games is hard. Winning them in a league as good as the Southern Conference is even harder. And as we talked about earlier, you know, when you're the preseason favorite in a league, I think so many times you want to try not to think about winning a championship. Let's win today. You know, let's have a great day in practice today. Let's have a great day, as they obviously have, against the Citadel playing well. Come back in here tomorrow, have a great film session. Because Saturday will take care of itself when it gets here. Winning road games is really hard, but they've got an outstanding team. They're fun to watch.
Bothwell and Slauson check out to an ovation from this Timmins Arena crowd. Slauson gets into double digits on the night. Tell you what, Jalen Slauson, 11 points, 7 assists in 17 minutes.
I'm telling you, his ability to pass the basketball off some of those drives is high level. High level. And that's what makes him such an intriguing guy down the road when his time at Furman is done.
Huey gets the cheap one on the other end. A quick 8-0 Furman run.
Yeah, Tyrese does a great job of running the floor. He's a good athlete. Obviously shot it well against VMI last week. He's got a bright future for the Paladins.
Final 75 seconds set to roll off. We talked a lot about Furman, their potential. Ed Conroy obviously coming back. Bulldogs 6-8, about to go to 1-2 in the Southern Conference. You've spoken highly of Ed Conroy. You think big things ahead for him. To understand the Citadel like he does and be willing to go back and say, hey, I'm going to have success in the success he did, you got to think the Bulldogs have a bright future.
No, they absolutely do. You know, when I was at the Citadel, you know, your whole thing is you wanted to recruit guys that cared about wearing the ring. You know, when you first pull in the gates, that's the first thing you see is the ring. And nobody cares more about the Citadel than Ed Conroy, John Reynolds. Those two men will lead the Citadel well, and their future is really bright. Mike Capaccio is an outstanding athletic director. I like this team. You know, even when I saw them at the opener against Clemson, they're going to win some games in the Southern Conference because they're going to show up every night and play hard. Tonight just wasn't their night. Furman was outstanding offensively.
A couple of local kids getting in for the Paladins. The junior out of Easley, Rhett Lister, and the junior out of Greenville, Blake Harris, seeing some action for the Paladins.
So Rhett Lister is one of my favorites.
Yep.
I know his dad well. The head coach over at North Greenville is sitting right here behind us, one of my dear friends in college basketball.
You know the story when Rhett got in against his dad's team earlier this year. He got a bucket, but Coach Lister said it doesn't count because he was cherry picking on the other end. So there's a disagreement of if that point counted as Alex Williams takes it.
Yeah, that's a tough night at Thanksgiving break when you're telling your dad how you scored against his team. But
big night for Alex Williams, 19.
Absolutely. He's such a dynamic scorer off the bench for the Paladins. So many guys that can score the basketball.
Furman's ending the game like they started from the field. Furman's hit their last 9 from the field after they made 13 of their first 14. You think when your teams are coming off a loss, how important was a quick start the next game? Do people play too much into that, or is it a game like tonight where Furman starts quick?
No, I don't think so. I think it's really important. You know, especially you're back home where Furman has been so good. You want to be active on the basketball. You want to get deflections. Because I believe when Furman does that defensively, they're elite. And you saw that tonight.
Nice finish off the rim by Durr. And the shot clock turned off. Furman's going to be able to dribble this one out. And a resounding 25-point win between the Paladins and the Bulldogs as Furman comes out on top. JD, really impressive by Bob Ritchie having his team ready to go tonight.
No, absolutely. It's a credit to the staff, credit to Coach Ritchie, and to the veteran players on this roster. You know, to Mike Bothwell, to Jalen Slauson.